Alright, this is going to be the VOD review of your Nepal map from your first Scrub Cup match. My voice is still sore from the other night, but I really want to get this done, so I'm doing it now. Just deal with how my voice sounds. It's fine. I don't want to waste any time. Let's just get right into it. So, as a note, I'm pretty sure you already know this, but really, the for the most part, the only time you want to use speed boost right out of spawn is on King of the Hill, where it's really important to get to an advantageous position immediately because you know the other team is going to be coming to meet you. So having that speed boost right out from spawn on King of the Hill is a massive advantage because you get to pick where the engagement happens if the enemy team doesn't have a Lucio. So try not to do that on other maps, but you may already know that. But on King of the Hill, that's fine.
This is true. We're relying on him.
This is something. When a Lucio jumps at you, when you're playing Lucio, sorry, not a Lucio. When a Winston jumps at you when you're playing Lucio, come on, I can't. Oh man, I can only go 1 second. Try to use your boop to boop him away while he's still midair because he's trying to land somewhere. He knows where he wants to land. So if you boop him midair, he's gonna go somewhere else, and that sucks for him. That's actually just a very small thing you should be doing. If you see a Winston jumping towards you and you're playing Lucio, try to boop him away while he's still in the air so that his bubble gets misplaced because he's almost certainly going to place his bubble wherever he lands. So if you can CC him into a certain direction, his bubble will be somewhere that he didn't intend for it to be, most likely, which is really good for you. That's fine. He went in a little bit too deep. You punished him for it immediately. Again. Yeah, he doesn't have the support to be that deep right now.
They have a Reaper, be careful.
So they are all over the place. This is just absolutely horrible, horrible play from them. They're walking into you. They're all shooting at someone else.
Oh, shit.
I'm pretty sure
They're
half the
already
time,
dead.
half of them weren't even shooting. They just let you kill them. It was really,
Oh,
really
no.
bad off of them.
Stealing his thunder.
They just walked in.
Those hammer slings, though. Good shit.
Okay, in between pushes, on this map especially, you should not just be standing here. There's high ground up here that you could take advantage of. That's an even worse color. There's high ground up here you could be taking advantage of. On my team, the call out for this high ground is Bell because there are two little bells up there. You should be taking that high ground. That's where you want to be holding. That way, if they try to push from mid, you have the high ground looking down onto them. And if they try to push from the doorway back here, then you can treat that doorway like a choke point and try to funnel them through it like a bottleneck. And both of those are really advantageous. So you should be up here. As soon as this fight is won and the point is capped, you should be up there. But instead you all wait down here, which is not good.
Come back, Zebra. Come back and out.
So you choose Zebra out a little bit for his positioning, but realistically, he was where all of you should have been. It's unfortunate you didn't make a call out. You didn't plan to all be up there. Zebra was, relatively speaking, out of position because he wasn't with his team, but really, you should have all been up there with him. He actually had the right idea by going up there, just not going up there alone.
Zebra, don't go out alone, please.
It was a really good EMP.
Lucio down. I'm gonna die.
I'm fairly certain you could have lived through that. So in terms of just playing it safe, when you hear Diva Bomb go off, unless you know 100% for sure that it is nowhere in the immediate area, you should still be going out of your way to seek cover, just in case. Because I mean, that's how Diva Bomb gets kills, is either from people who can't find cover or people who expect that they're safe when they're really not. That's like half of the kills Diva Bomb gets are from people who think they're safe or they have somewhere to hide that actually is compromised. And that's what happens to you here. So I'm fairly certain if the second you hear Diva Bomb, you had switched over to Speed Boost down here instead of being on heals, you actually could have gone all the way back around to the other side of the point and you could have lived through it. It's unfortunate that you didn't.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could have gotten out of
Oh,
there. I don't
sorry.
know if
That was
Sadness
my
could
bad.
have, but I think you could have, Lyris.
I thought it was gonna land a lot closer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll wait. Let's wait. Let's wait.
This is good. You're regrouping fully. You're not trickling at all. That's great. Too bad I can't hear comms. I'd love to hear what the plan is. Hmm. Okay. So from this position,
Yep. Let me know when.
you should pull to
Let
the
me know.
right. There. Okay. All right. So let's back up. There's a few things I want to dissect here. So, right here, this is classic from you guys. It's something I'm seeing you do a lot. You are letting them initiate onto you. That is what happens here. That's why the beat drop plan didn't work. And I am pretty sure that is a plan you came up with, which is great. But you took too long to do it. The Winston initiated, which I'm sure he didn't mean to block your beat drop with that barrier. That would have been an insane play if he meant to do that. But regardless, he did, and it's because you gave him the time to get into position to do that. Now, beyond that, I actually would have gone over to the right to get onto point just straight away. Make them fight into you onto that point. Because if you have Dragon Blade and Beat, what you can do is go hide out on the side of the point. As soon as they drop off the high ground, that's when you want to send Genji in to initiate with the Dragon Blade and your beat drop. That's what should have happened. But instead, this was very messy. You stood here for just a few seconds too long. The Winston jumps on you. Before you can
Yep.
initiate
Let
the
me know
fight,
when.
the Winston's in your back
Let me know.
line. By random chance, he happens to block the beat drop, so poor Mango is just stuck without any protection when he ults,
The
and
Winston
you're
bubble
you're
is on the
down
way.
2 ults, and you lose the fight. So,
I'm getting
to
punched.
recap, you spent a few seconds too long before initiating the fight, and also you didn't go about it in the most strategic way you could have. There was a lot of unclaimed space to your right that you didn't make use of, that you potentially could have. So be a little bit faster with going in with your plans. It's really good that you had a plan, and the initiation was there. It was just too slow. It was delayed. So I'm very glad to see that you had a plan and you actually tried to go through with it. The execution was almost perfect. Almost.
In the face.
You should be getting out of here. Yeah. This is unfortunate.
They also swapped to Zenyatta. Sorry, that was my bad. I should have paid
Still
attention
have
to where I was dropping it.
You still have 3 ults to work with. That's pretty good. That's
No.
it's really
He just swapped.
as far
he
as
just
how the beat
swapped
drop
to
got blocked, that was
Zenyatta.
not entirely
They're-
your fault.
yeah,
It was your
they're
fault
probably
as a
gonna have it.
team that you didn't initiate fast enough, but you don't need to like take the blame for that, Lyris. This is the correct call, what you did here. You see the Diva Bomb, immediately you switch to speed, help the whole team run out. I am not entirely sure how the Reaper actually got back here without any of you noticing. I assume he went back through the mid choke point and he teleported up here, which was a really great play off of him. That worked out really, really well. It got you guys a free. I mean, it got them a free team fight
They
for
were
that.
waiting for us.
Well, it wasn't free. They took 2 ults for it, but
Get out, get out, get out.
it did get them the team fight. As a general rule, watch for flankers. That's all I can say about that. Not much more you could have done than kept a bigger eye out.
Nice. Go, go, go. He's been rezzed.
Okay, let's dissect that. Let's back up 20 seconds. Or maybe not 20 whole seconds. Oh no, 20 seconds is good. 20
We need to
seconds
get
is
on
good.
the point.
Yes, you do need to get on the point.
Nice.
You
Go,
do.
go, go.
So why is this happening?
He's been
Why are
right.
you standing here? No, 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 no. So, you've got speed amp. You have enough time to make it to point. Speed amp, just go straight to point. Death ball. Everybody clump up. Everybody needs to be getting on point now. This is your Hail Mary. Like, this is your last push. You need to throw bodies at point right now because it's at 97%, and if you don't do that, you're going to lose. Instead, you heal amp, you back up, you play defensively, you just don't touch point when you could have. You just totally threw a push away by not touching point.
Mm.
Fortunately, no comms. Pre-game chatter's not very helpful.
Okay. Just be careful.
I
with
really
the
hope this is
Reaper.
actually recording and I'm not wasting another half an hour of my life like last time. Okay, this is good. You're just walking onto point. This is one of the few. Just as a quick note, some map knowledge for you guys. This is one of the few maps where it's actually advantageous just to immediately get control of the point. Like before the objective even unlocks, you want to be on the point because the point here is actually the high ground compared to most of the terrain. So this is more advantageous than necessarily pushing to the side, which might take longer. It's just better to have bodies on point on this particular map just as soon as you can.
They're diving Mercy super hard. Yep, Mercy down. I've knocked the Reaper out. He's down. D.Va. Nicely.
Your calls are pretty good
Good
here.
work.
I wanna look at this
Oh,
real quick one more time. I just wanna look at how you
They're
won. So Mango kills Winston. Clean. I like it.
diving Mercy super hard.
It gets res, so their
Yep,
res is
Mercy
down.
down.
You pop off and get the mercy. That looked
I've knocked the Reaper out. He's
mechanical
down.
to me. I
D.Va,
think
D.Va.
you guys just mechanically outplayed them here. That's
Nicely.
great. Good work.
Good work. Oh, we should have. Good call. You're right. We should have done that.
Talking about staggering the D.Va, I assume. Well, you
I
got to be
meant to
careful with D.Va staggers on King of the Hill sometimes because it's the same with payload as well. She can contest the point if you're not careful. I think she was in a position where she was contesting the point, so you would have had to masterfully use your CC abilities, Lucio Boop and Diva Boop, to get her off of the point so you could cap, and then you could stagger her to your heart's content. But before that, you actually might have needed to kill her just to capture the point. So I wouldn't worry, I wouldn't kick yourself too much for that one.
Okay. Okay. Oh, first pick. Nice pick.
Got picked with choke spam.
Reaper on the left side.
You could have called the
behind
Reaper
us,
out
be careful.
faster. I know it caught you off guard and you were probably
Be careful on
busy,
the point. Be careful on the point.
actually
Reaper on point.
registering what to do when you saw him, but I firmly believe you have the ability to make callouts faster than that. Maybe with a little bit
Did
of
we use our
practice,
ults? No.
but
We didn't even use ults.
you
Okay.
can definitely call it out faster than that. So yeah, they got picked from choke spam, then they really just had to back out.
That's good.
So that was a pretty bad play off of them.
I almost have beat. Yep. D.Va. Their left side. Yep.
This is a total waste of heal amp, or just amp in general. This is a total waste. You just plain don't need it.
D.Va.
What you might need your amp for in this position is to disengage. Oops, that's a bad arrow. Is to disengage, because if they get what they want, they are going to speed down onto the point and contest you directly so they can brawl it out. That's what they probably want to do here. They want to sit here for a few seconds to try and get some damage down on you guys, and then after a minute or two of that, or a few seconds rather, they will drop down and start brawling on point. So what you wanted to do is save your speed amp to either engage onto them as they're dropping off the high ground or back away from them as they use their mobility to get down onto the point. Instead, you totally threw it away. This is a heal amp that was just totally unnecessary. Nobody needed it. That was really bad, Lyris. I'm sorry. I gotta call him as I see him. This I just thought was funny the first time I see it. I could see the panic in your eyes as you drop down onto this low ground to try to contest the Winston, and you see all three of them there, and you just do a 180 and you back out, which is the right call. You know that's not a good place to be in, so good work on that. The boop was misplaced.
Nice.
That's unfortunate. You probably could have booped him away so that at least you didn't get killed. Maybe you could have also saved Firefly. I think Logic was doomed. I don't think you could have saved Logic there.
Yeah.
You've got it in overtime here. You can call to back out. I think that's what you're doing.
Yep. Just come back. Come back.
I want to see if there's anything else I can get from this, actually. Okay, so looking at this here, the correct play here would be to boop Reaper down the stairs and speed amp your team backwards to the other side of the pillar on the point. That's what the correct play would have been here. But you didn't have speed amp, so that wasn't an option. And unfortunately, the boop whiffed. There's nothing really to be said about that. It was a little bit misplaced. Not really your fault. Mechanical thing. Okay, so you get the double res. It's hard to tell what ultimates are being used because I can't hear the game sound. From the double res, it initially looks like you could fight it out, but they still have 6 on point, and your Mercy's down.
Come back.
So falling back here is the correct choice.
Come back. Fizzy.
I would say that
Wait,
going
wait.
for that double res
Gonna
was
let
also
Sadness
the
heal-
correct
yeah.
choice, I
Let
think.
Sadness heal you up.
But cutting your losses was
Come
the
back,
right choice.
whoever.
Okay, here. I want to make a point of something. Fizzy can't come back. He's Baby Diva right now. He's got 150 hit points. If he so much as looks out this doorway, he could die to choke spam. He doesn't, just looking out there, he could die to choke spam. And the reason for that, let's see if I can get a better angle. This space here in front of the point is what's known as contested neutral space, which means neither team, neither you guys nor them, are controlling this space, but both of you are sort of fighting for it a little bit. You're both shooting down into it, trying to hit the enemy. So what you should do to safely allow Diva to back out is have Firefly go through, claim this space to make it uncontested, either with his bubble or just by standing there, so that you can have Firefly either back out so you can attack through the high ground, which is what I would recommend actually, or so that you can claim the space so that Zebra can come out and start trying to farm his mech while you're initiating. I would recommend the former, which would be claim the space so that Zebra can back out and you go take the high ground. But the latter would also work. It's an option. So telling Zebra to get back isn't really productive here. You need Firefly to make space to allow Zebra to get back. Otherwise, Zebra has to travel through the contested neutral space as Baby Diva, and that's not good. That's how you're going to die.
Oh.
You can see the choke spam coming through, and that's what I'm talking about. That's why he's hiding, which is really good call off of him. He should be hiding right now. He shouldn't be poking that much.
Try going left side. Oh, he's seen us. Just go anyway.
Okay.
Yep. Well, they have. Yep.
This beat was good. This was a good beat.
What the fuck?
It was meant for initiation, and that was good.
Oh, thank you.
It is impressive how fast that Reaper got his
Oh,
ult
good.
back, by the way.
What did we die to?
You are not at fault for not realizing he would have ult. Definitely not.
That was really fast. Fizzy,
The-
can you also?
I think you just
save
got
your Matrix
out
for
ulted
the
that
Reaper if
fight.
you can?
Yeah, I am fairly certain the only ult you used was beat drop, and then as soon as it wore off, they used a support ult and a DPS ult. So that makes sense that they would take that engagement.
Come now, come now, come now. Fizzy, Fizzy.
Now, you're calling Fizzy out here, but I'm actually... I think Sadness is being a little worse about it. Just based off of when you called to go left, Sadness, it should not be poking at the choke at all here, because you are the support player. You know, you could die by doing that, and if you get picked, that means they have to wait for you. They can't go in 5v6 without a mercy. That's just not going to happen. So yes, Fizzy also should have come immediately, but if you think about it, Fizzy's a tank. He can take a little beating, and then he's got his thrusters to catch up if he needs to. You all should have gone together immediately as soon as the call was made to go left. Do not get me wrong, that is absolutely what should have happened. Both of them are at fault for not fully paying attention or reacting fast enough, which, you know, happens. But,
Now,
you know,
Fizzy.
call both of them out,
Fizzy,
you know?
come.
All right. So
Nice
Firefly has done a
nice
good
pick on
job
the
at
Mercy.
claiming
Behind us,
neutral
behind us,
space here for
Reaper.
your team. It allowed your team to push up
Come now,
into
come now, come now.
the
Fizzy.
here. I'm gonna show you. So you can see here. All right. So I'm gonna use blue for your green for your space, orange for neutral space, and red for enemy space. The enemy space is on the point. They control all the space on the point. Your space is down here. This is the space you control. All this space around the stairs is neutral. Actually, I would go so far as to say this space down here belongs to you because it's on the low ground that Firefly is very close to right now. But the stairway there, that's neutral contested space. If a DPS tries to go there right now unprotected, they will probably get focused down and die. That's what a tank's job is, and Firefly, you do this beautifully. It's a very, very simple play, but you execute it just right, which is you jump in and you claim the space with your bubble perfectly. This is what I was mentioning before. This was the contested neutral space, but now it is most firmly your space. This is your space now, which means your DPS can come all the way up here. They can sit all the way up here. Come on, take a different color. They can sit all the way up here, and they can fire in from the stairway, which is so much more advantageous than sitting down here below the stairs. That's just what you should be doing, Firefly. Taking the space that your DPS needs. You know, this is a perfect example of basic tank play being executed well.
Nice pick. Nice pick on the Mercy. Behind us, Reaper.
Good call on the Reaper. And Fizzy, you turn around. That's great.
Nice.
Reaper is still alive, but you managed to focus him down really, really low. Now, when I first watched this, I actually was going to chew Lyris out a little bit for missing shots because I thought it was the Reaper that got the killing blow on Sadness. And I was going to be like, you could have saved Sadness here if your aim is better. But no, it was the soldier, so you are not at fault for killing Sadness. Happy birthday. That's your present. I'm telling you, it's not your fault that Sadness died. Yeah.
Reaper down, Reaper down, Reaper down.
This is an acceptable heal amp. That's what I was going to say. I was
Nice.
about to say, you should heal amp here. This is one of the times you should be
Nice.
on heals instead of speed. Which, damn it,
Oh,
is
that was
actually
good.
something I meant to make more of a point of, which is, you are not on speed enough. You need to be on speed so much more. Firefly was even telling me the other day, he subbed in a scrim for one of the other teams, and one of his observations was that they were really, really utilizing Lucio's speed boost. They weren't just using it in bursts. They were like really relying on it. Their strategies were depending on it. And Firefly told me how much easier tank play became when he had that Lucio speed boost to rely on. So you should be trying to do that for him. You should be communicating when you
position
want
carefully.
speed boost and when you're going to use speed boost. So Firefly, like, don't be afraid to ask Lyris, like, hey, speed boost me up
and
here,
Logic,
so that Lyris knows to switch to
depending
speed
on
if
what
she's
they
on
run,
heals right now.
If they have a Reaper again, it might be worth going Pharah. Yeah, they're running Junkrat.
Yeah, they've got the Junkrat. You don't really want to be standing there without a significant tank presence. If you had an Orisa or a Reinhardt, I would say it would be okay to stand on the high ground, but with the Junkrat, I would say you probably want to take the point just because it's a little bit more open. It's harder for the Junkrat to spam you out.
We got the point.
So this is a good
wait,
call.
No, we don't. Just kidding. We don't.
Don't cloud comms. Careful.
Diva's low too.
All right, so real quick before we get into the next thing, just a general concept that I want to cover real fast is the idea of point control. So it's one thing to literally physically have captured the objective and have the, the percentage here ticking up, or to have the payload moving forward. That's one thing. But the idea of point control is just who controls the space of the point. Who is it harder for to get onto point and try to cap it or prevent the enemy from capping? If you have point control, that is a good thing. And I just want to quickly cover the difference between point control and having capped the point. You want to establish point control as leverage to help you win a fight and or capture the point. Just in general, to cover that concept, just so you're all aware of it. This is good. You're farming the D.Va.
Yeah, let's hold the door.
Yeah, hold him here. This is good. Now you want to be careful. Don't let the Junkrat spam you out.
Yeah, they did.
This is really good play.
Been res. They don't have
Ooh,
res.
okay. Here's something I wanted to look at actually.
Yeah, let's
I wanted to see
door.
when you used heal amp. This heal amp, while I'm looking at your screen, and I was going to say it wasn't technically a waste, but honestly, it is, because Logic is only missing half his health. You know you have Sadness right behind you. You should have a little bit more faith in your fellow healer. You don't have to do all the healing as Lucio. Your job as Lucio is not to be, the healing, the main healer. You're not doing the bulk of the healing here. That's Sadness's job. So what you should do is absolutely be on heals right now, because there's healing to be done and speed boost isn't really giving you anything, but you don't need to amp it up here. And the reason I say that is because you amped it up to do healing that didn't need to be done. And you really could have used it here. Both your tanks are on critical. That's really bad. You still have 3 seconds, so by the time you have it, Zebra's out of mech and Firefly is pretty much dead. So if you had it, what I would say is switch to speed, amp it up, and then halfway through the amp it up effect, once you're here, switch to healing, because the momentum of the speed will still get you to the tanks. It'll get you through the danger safely. And then you'll still be able to give them a nice little burst of healing to keep them going. That's what you should have done. If you still had your amp it up, that's what you should have done.
Res? They don't have res?
Yeah, see, you've got it, but Zebra's out of mech and Firefly's dead. So, had to use res on that, which is unfortunate.
Alright, don't go too far ahead, guys.
Yeah, DPS, you guys, little bit overextended. You shouldn't do that. Remember the difference between the two forms of aggression that I was talking about. There is initiation and there is snowballing. And you were going for a bit of a snowbally play, but you did not have the support of your tanks, which you really, really need to make a snowbally play. The DPS going out alone cannot snowball. They will get picked, and that is how the enemy team will come back and win a fight. So you have to be careful doing that. You shouldn't have done that.
DPS on either side to hold both sides of the door.
That reminded me, actually. Just an interesting play that I would go for here. This is the strategy I would use. Put Reaper alone over here. Put Logic over there on Reaper alone. And put all 5 of the rest of you on this side. What the enemy team I would then expect to do would be peek in here, see that you guys are seemingly all on this side, so they would then push to the left. Then, as soon as Reaper has an opportunity, pop out, start shooting. Lyris, you speed boost everybody from this side through that doorway and initiate onto them from there. As soon as they're figuring out that Reaper is there, you're already on top of them, and I think it would have been a very clean team fight. Now, if I remember correctly, they actually don't push mid at this point anyways. I think they push behind you. But that's still what I would have set up.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
They're coming left.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. This is when you would have, again, wanted to speed boost to disengage because you're slightly out of position here. They've caught you off guard, and you and Logic should be disengaging either down through the stairway or in through the room here. Whichever one your tanks are closer to. You need your tanks as your front line. Because right now you are very firmly in the enemy's controlled space, and you need Firefly to come contest that space.
D.Va,
You should have disengaged there. Yeah, back up a little bit. You need to give them a little space. Now this is unfortunate. This...
Oh, damn.
How much forewarning did you have with the beat to the kill feed?
Oh,
Okay, none. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I got punted up.
So,
Yeah.
I think you were trying to beat their as a swing factor, which is fine.
Come back.
It's unfortunate that the Riptire killed you. I think that was an acceptable drop the beat. I would have tried to place it a little bit better. I would have waited to disengage fully onto point to do it. It's just so you'd be hitting more bodies with it. But so this is the correct call. Is you saw them on the left, so you pushed right. That's perfect. You should speed amp here. You should speed amp to get the whole team together so that you can make a push. But you used heal amp when you really didn't need to. You could have used speed amp even now here to push onto point. Get your tanks on point so you can brawl it out. You're just not on heal. You're just not on speed boost enough. I'm gonna chew you out for that more now when I see it, Lyris.
Bye.
I don't know what that D.Va was doing. Because she had point control, so as long as she was standing on point, you staggering her just would have meant more points for them.
Okay.
She shouldn't have tried to reset there, which I think is what she was doing.
Logic, I'm gonna hang out here in case you need... Yeah, you probably will.
Set up around the choke point again. You don't need to be playing this far back. Firefly, you're in a little bit too deep.
Yeah, Firefly, come back.
Okay, you had Primal Rage, so I think that's why you did it. You still went in a little bit too deep.
Okay, good. It's just me. That's good. Nice bump, Fizzy. Thank you.
That was a nice bump off of Fizzy, by the way.
Nice. Oh, shit. I got punted.
I don't know if it would have made a difference, but if you switch to speed boost midair, it does still make you go faster.
Nice.
So you might have been able to switch to speed boost, then turn around and actually wall road onto the high ground rather than trying to get directly back on a point. I don't know for sure if that would have worked, but that's what you could have done.
Good shit.
Yeah, you guys pop off. Nice. I couldn't really analyze the end of that fight because, you know, Lyris' point of view, but...
Did you fall off the
good work.
At the end? Did you fall off at the end too?
Chatter's not helpful, can't hear comms.
Yeah, we lost village.
Oh god, I hope this is recording.
This is shrine. Oh, dang. Mango pulling out the big guns.
Straight to point, that's good.
Probably, yep.
Just taking all the... You see, like, for instance, going back to my point control thing, now you clearly have point control, which gives you leverage in the next fight, because they will have to fight onto you. You know where the fight is going to happen if you choose not to engage here, which it looks like you do choose to engage a little bit. Which works. I'm actually surprised by that, because you engaged onto the high ground. It got you a pick. Good work. Another wasted heal amp. You didn't need it. I don't want to beat the dead horse, but I am going to call it. Going to at least call it out. I don't have to keep re-explaining, but I'm going to call it out. Okay. You should speed amp into their DPS. All of you, speed amp. Their tanks, they aren't doing anything to protect their DPS right now. The DPS are firmly in the contested neutral space right now. You could all rush into them and kill them. Delete the soldier, delete the Reaper. They're down 2 for the fight. Their tanks are making a massive misplay by staying on the high ground. They all need to be here and playing this wall, but they are not doing that. You should take advantage of that, but you're still standing here poking.
I'm at
See, now
68.
they're dropping down
Oh,
and taking
no.
advantage of the pillar.
This Reaper is coming around behind us. Reaper, Mango, be careful.
That's a good call. Okay, so Drop the Beat actually has a bit of a grace period for when you hit the ground and applying the sound barrier to everybody. So if you hit the ground and the beat goes out, but someone is behind a wall, you have, I think it's like a whole full second to get them into your line of sight to apply the sound barrier to them. You should have switch directions when you saw which direction Sadness was flying in, because I think that you could have applied the barrier. I think. It's possible I'm wrong, but you still should have done that to make an attempt. Because right now, I don't think you got either of them with the barrier. No, you didn't.
Where is she? Nope. We should back out.
No, you shouldn't back out.
Yep.
So here's the thing. King of the Hill is a little bit special when it comes to knowing when to just give them a point. When to just give the enemy a point. Unlike, say, a 2CP map, where if you try to stall out for an extra 10 seconds and they kill you, then you're going to get bad spawned, spawned all the way in the back so you can't defend, like on Streets phase, or maybe they can steamroll into you in a 6v5 for second point. Unlike those, you actually want to stall whenever you can when you're on King of the Hill. When the point belongs to you. Right now, it's your point. If you die on the point, even if it means you're just taking a few extra seconds to die on the point, your score is going up. Every second you spend alive on the objective is a second that your score is going up. The only time you ever want to disengage prematurely from a fight in King of the Hill is when it's in overtime. If you have it at 99% and it's in overtime, that's when you can afford to disengage and say, no, let's just make another push and take it from them. We only need the one fight to win. You should not have disengaged here. You should have stayed. Let them kill you. It's worth the ult charge to get another, 10, maybe even 15% on the scoreboard.
Ah, damn it.
I wouldn't have rezzed that, Sadness. You shouldn't have rezzed there. You're right outside your spawn. You're still waiting for the regroup as it is. You didn't need to res that. You should have just waited for Lyris to respawn.
Yeah.
Because now you're not going to have res going into the next fight. The way I like to put it is you just use the 30-second cooldown for a 7-second respawn.
Yeah.
When it could have been more like a 30-second cooldown for like a 20-second respawn if you account for getting back to the point.
D-Mech. Bubble down.
That's unfortunate.
We had the same plan, kind of.
It did take out both of your supports.
Our
That is a
healers
good
are
ult
both
from
down.
Mango.
Be careful. Yeah, you can win, but just be careful. We're coming back.
See, they made the same mistake. It looks like they tried to reset. They shouldn't have done that.
In the back, like watching out for Reaper. Cause.
Hi, cat.
Okay.
I have a kitty here now.
Okay. All right, Fizzy, be ready. Can you tell him when? Okay.
You should get into the habit of being on speed just by default. So, sitting around waiting for the enemy to come back. You should be on speed. Just get into that habit. I think that would help. That would help a lot.
Right now?
Wasted heal amp.
Soldier.
Stall it into overtime and
Soldier
disengage.
left side.
That's what you should do. Yeah, you should back out here. You should back out here. It's their kill feed. Just give it to him. Just go. Just get out.
No, a little bit. Back off. Back off.
Yeah,
back,
just get
back,
out.
Back off. Back off. Back off. Okay. Back
If you
out.
had called it when I called it, Sadness would also still be alive.
Wait for Sadness. No, they just swapped to. They just swapped to Ryan, right? I don't think they had Ryan earlier.
That is
They
correct.
probably don't have Shatter yet. Yeah, they don't have Shatter yet. Yep. Alright, work.
Wasted heal amp. Should have been speed amp.
Reaper's above us.
That
to
is
the
a good
right.
call. That is a really good catch and a really good call.
Reaper.
I
Nice.
personally actually would have dropped the beat the second that Mango
That
started
was
Deadeye,
very fast Shatter.
because I would have been paranoid that the Reaper was going to drop down behind him and get him. You saved it. You used it a little bit later. I think you actually hit
You got a
fewer
match?
people from that angle, but your timing was a little bit more valuable,
We could've staggered
undoubtedly.
that.
Yeah,
But
you, don't-
I-
you
Oh,
realize
never
this,
mind,
but you don't need to
staggered,
stagger
never
it because it's in overtime.
Nice. Good work, guys.
I mean, great. You guys are definitely improving. I mean, obviously this is a pretty old game at this point, but from your
Nice.
scrim, you know, this is absolutely an
This is
improvement.
probably the initial push.
You played well.
Yeah. We just went to
Now,
town.
don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
That fire strike
you bladed
here
and
from
everyone was
Logic
dead
was
already?
really great. But also, the enemy team totally
shit.
played into you, Logic. I mean, holy crap. But, yeah, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing from you guys, honestly. Like, that was fantastic. Okay, I'm not going to ramble about anything for very long because I have more VOD reviews to do tonight, but that's that. I think, if you've got any questions, just PM me. Good work.